What is going on, everybody? This is Jaden, and I want to welcome you back to another video. Now, today I'm going to be breaking down one of my A+ setups, and this is a trade that I look for every day. I'm going to show y'all exactly what I do. I pretty much have a suite of indicators that I use, and I'm going to show you how I read those indicators and literally what I look for when I'm trading every day. So let's go ahead and jump into my computer. Now, I trade MYM, MNQ, and MES pretty much every day. I mean, I trade Forex as well, but that's more on a higher time frame. So I'm gonna show you a perfect setup first, and then I'm going to show you pretty much what I'm looking for. Now, this did not give me the entries that I wanted, but it does have all the qualities that I'm looking for. Let me go and replay. So first of all, one thing that I have is the pivot tool. Now this right here is my 30-minute chart. I trade on the 1-minute chart. Now the 30-minute chart, I do use that to get my overall positioning in the market. And these yellow lines right here, this is what I call the pivot tool. Now, when it's low and it's in these zones right here, I'm looking for sells. This is the pivot zone. I'm looking for sells up here. I'm looking for buys down here. So I'm waiting for the 30-minute to get into these zones. That way I can start looking for buys or sells. Now, with that being said, I also have these right here. This is like this is the average. So these are the averages of the previous highs. And it pretty much says, hey, this is where the market is generally going to turn around. So what I'm looking for is the market to reach this area and generally start turning around, because this is the distance they normally go. Now, this is just an average. It does not have to hit this line, but I want it pretty close to it. Secondly, I have the anchors. Now this right here, these little white diamonds, these are what I call the anchor. And when I get an anchor down, I am looking for sells after that. I want to get a play after I get the anchor. Now, because this is down, that means I can look for sells. If I see a buy anchor, then I am not looking for sells. I'm looking for buys at this point. Now, that's 3 pieces I just showed you. The 30-minute pivot tool, the average right here, and also the anchor. Now I'm looking for the anchor zone. I need a play within the anchor zone. What are the anchor zones? Is this red area and green area down here. Obviously, red is for sells and green is for buys. I want plays within that area. So as you see right here, we got an anchor. First of all, the 30-minute is all the way down here. My crosshairs, let me make sure I'm on the right. Oops. Okay. Make sure I'm on MNQ. So the 30-minute at this point was all the way down here. So I am not looking for sells. I'm sorry. I'm not looking for sales. In this area, actually, I'm looking for buys. So we got a sell anchor. We got plays after the anchor, but we are not in the zone, and we're nowhere near the average right here. We're nowhere near the turnaround point. So I want to wait. I did not take this play. As you see, it lost. Got another play. We're still not in the zone. I got another anchor, which is good because that means I'm looking for sells. This play happened as well. It didn't give me what I wanted, but as you see, we are now up here in the pivot zone on the 30-minute, so I can now look for sells. We came up here into the anchor zone. We have our anchor already, so we're good to go with that. And then we're also close to this line right here. The buy, we're on a sell line right here. We're close to that. So this right here is a beautiful setup to me. Beautiful setup. This is like A+. If I see this, I'm hitting it. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, unfortunately, this play did not give me the pullback because I have to play these entry lines right here. They need to come back and then they can continue to fall. Now, this one over here, MES, this is some of the cool things about trading is you can determine what you want to do in trading, whether you want to take a trade or not. Now, I have pretty specific rules and I like to follow those rules, but there are very, very, very every now and then I might take a trade that I may not normally would take. However, this one, I actually didn't take this one. It did give me the anchor. You got the anchor, we're up here in the zone, right? 30-minute zone. We got the anchor, we're close to the line. We're in the anchor zone. And we can take, actually, yeah, we could take this. Oh, the problem was it didn't close. Man, I could have took this. Why didn't I take this? Anyway, I should have took that. This is a great play right here. Literally, A+. So as you see, it pulled back, gave me some hesitation right here. I love when they do this, when they get to my entry and they start to hesitate. And on the 1 minute pivot tool, we're up in this area. That's beautiful when they start hesitating. That is beautiful because there's generally a drop coming or a sharp push coming, and they'll generally go in direction with the pivot tool. This pivot tool is insane. So that's what I look for. And then you got all these profits. Now take profit with this particular tool. I do have a take profit that I like to implement, and I may implement it into this indicator. But for right now, you just pretty much ride it and do what you want to do with it. You can use the pivot tool. When you get low on the pivot tool, it might pull back and you can hit it. You know, you can do what you want to do when it comes to this tool. However, that is what I'm looking for every day. Now, coming to today, when I look at today, this was the market today. So I had a play. I'll come right here. First of all, what am I looking for? 30-minute pivot tool. I want them in the pivot zone. So when I came up here, they were actually, oh yeah. They were actually, hold on. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. I'm on replay. So they were not in the zone just yet with this play. Yes, we're kind of close to the average right here, the daily high average. We're close to there, but we did not get an anchor. And really, this is what I was struggling with this trade. I did not get the anchor down. I got an anchor up, which lets me know I'm looking for buys. I can't take sells at this point. However, you know, it rose higher and got closer to that average. And this tool alone right here, these averages, it will hit there and turn around. It is a really, really, really good tool. So when they get here, that's a pretty strong indication that, hey, they're about to turn around, or maybe, you know, of course it's not guaranteed. However, we got up here. We are now in the pit. We're in the anchor zone. We're now in the pivot zone for a 30-minute. I'm just waiting on a play. We hit the line. So I got a play. Unfortunately, I did not get the anchor. So I couldn't take that. I mean, I could because all these other things lined up. Now, if I'm missing just the anchor and everything else is lining up, I may take this trade. Now, I'm going to show you where I did take it. So let's see. They hit the entry. They hit that entry right there. Gave us a beautiful entry and then fell. I mean, fell. Money right there, right? So then they come up. They're low on the pivot tool on the 1 minute at this point. So it's very possible that they pull back, which they did a little bit, but then they dropped heavier. Now, what I would like, if I was to enter this trade, I needed to come back up here and I need to see them linger. I need to see them linger or pause, what I call it, the pause, pivot, push. That's what I call it. The pause, pivot, push. So you're gonna see it, watch. So we are now at my entry, right? And look, we are pausing. See those doji candles? We're pausing. See that right there? And they're in the zone right now, in the pivot zone for the 1 minute. So I could take this right now. Knowing that I'm already up here, I already have a very, very good possibility that they're going to fall. I didn't get an anchor, but when everything else is lining up, I mean, look how high we are on the pivot tool for the 30-minute. Like, this is just like, bro, I'm about to take this. So when I saw them lingering, and they're high on the pivot tool right here, I was like, man, there's a drop coming, because you're gonna see it. There's a drop, and boom, they lingered. Look, They lingered that whole time. They paused, they're in the pivot zone, and then they pushed down. Major pips. So that is exactly what happened today. Those are the setups that I really look for. And I'm telling you right now, when you combine the pause with the pivot, and you have your entry right here, it's absolutely insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane. You'll see them do this stuff. Look, they're in the area, and when they pause and then they push, it's just a thing. Look. Pause in the pivot and they push. It's amazing. I'm telling you, these tools are insane, and this is a system that I use to trade every day. So yeah, check it out. The link is in the description below if you want to try these tools out. And yeah, man, it's insane. So you guys see what I do. I use a 30-minute pivot tool to find the area in the market where I am. I use my averages as well for the daily high and the daily low averages. And then I use my anchor, make sure I have the anchor, which is a whole nother algorithmic thing. Make sure I have my anchor in the direction that I want to take trades in, and then get my setup, get my trade in the anchor zone, and then hit the pullbacks, and I'm golden. So if you are interested in looking into more of this stuff, feel free to hit me up, leave a comment below, let me know what y'all think. You don't got to learn a lot with this. You literally just learn how to use the tools. You don't have to learn a bunch of stuff. Yeah, you got to learn about trading a little bit, just the normal how to work the stuff, which I teach you how to work it. But this stuff is insane. I've made trading pretty easy. I have a pretty clear-cut system, and this stuff, once you learn how to use these tools, is game over. So again, feel free to check the link below if you want to check out the indicators. Also, give this video a like, a subscribe, and yeah, there's gonna be a lot more content coming out. You guys are gonna learn how to trade. Let's get it.